Hey, how's it going? Jason here, and in this episode we're going to be going over some branch arranging, and I'm going to do a quick time lapse on this tree I have right behind me. Okay, so I finished wiring the first pad here. I'm going to reposition the camera, and then so we can take a close-up view to see exactly what I did here. We can look to see how I sort of arranged the branches and sort of the style I was trying to go for, or sort of the techniques I was using in order to sort of fill up this pad. All right, so if you take a look at the side view here, you can see that this whole pad right here is all wired up. I'm going to swivel it over so we can take a close look at it. You can see that all the branches, they don't all just sort of go straight out like this, sort of like that. They kind of come in like this and sweep out this way. So you kind of create movement in the branches using this, you know, because you have movement in the trunk, so you kind of want to have the same movement in the branches. So when you're arranging a branch, you come in, say this one right here, it comes back in and then it sweeps back out. So it creates sort of a fan, kind of like this, if you follow my finger. You kind of go like this. So it goes in and then it comes back out, and you fan everything out that way, and what that does is it creates nice sort of soft movement in the branches and helps to give sort of that nice feel in the entire branch or the entire pad layer. Okay, so I lowered the camera a little bit more and you can kind of see the layers I've created there. I've got, you know, my first layer right here, and then what I did was I wired all those. I did the movement in the branches, kind of went in and then back out to kind of create that sweeping motion. And I did my first layer, and after I finished that, I trimmed up what's in between. I did my second layer, which sort of is right along here, inside right there. And you can see that there's a gap right there, just so you can sort of see through the foliage, so you can kind of appreciate the branch structure and everything like that. And then as I went up, I kind of created like what I would describe maybe as like a mini apex to the pad, and that would be kind of right here. And then it kind of tapers off that way, tapers off this way, so you've got like sort of a mini or sort of a flat triangle right there. So if you create sort of those triangles, your eye just sort of gravitates to that, and it gives you a nice sort of balanced feel. So you got the triangles coming this way, and that's sort of from the bird's eye view, and then you've got it this way, a flat one, when you're flat, looking straight at the front of the tree, and also from the angle on the back as well. So if I zoom out on the tree, you can start to see a basic structure here. We've got the first pad developing, and then I'm going to start bringing this one down here and create another pad there, and then I'm going to bring this one in like this and create a pad over here, and then I'm going to work myself up, just like in my previous videos, where I'm showing where I'm demonstrating how to wire a bonsai branch. It's the same principle. It's just applied to the same a bigger tree. So you start from here, first pad, and that gives you sort of your foundation, and then from there you can move on to your second layer, or you can work on this side first. I always work from the bottom up. That way I can see exactly which branches I need and which branches I can eliminate. And then when I'm wiring these layers here, I'm always wiring, let me get in focus here. I'm always wiring from the outside and working myself in. So I wire these outside here, and then I wire the ones inside more, and I wire these inside until I reach the inside here. Now the reason that you do that is because you're not exactly sure which branches you can eliminate. So you've got to start from the end and start to create your structure. When you start to create your structure here, you can start to eliminate the branches you don't need because you've already got these filling in. So all the ones that were under here at one time inside, right here, let me see if I can zoom in. So here's all the outside foliage right here. I had a bunch of branches that were inside, like right here, inside the branches, say right here, you know, on the inside. And what I did was I could eliminate all those because I already had enough foliage on the outside to sort of create that layer. All right, let me see if I can get it to show a little bit better. I need to move my tools. Yeah, you can see a little bit better that way. So now you can see that inside here, all that inside growth is all gone, and I've only saved the outside. I mean, if all the branches, you'll notice I'll have a little bit of movement as well. So they're going in and they're kind of going like this a little bit. They're kind of zigzagging. Now if I go and make these all straight, first of all, it's going to look really funny because they're just going to all stick out straight like this. But also all the foliage is going to all come out to here, all the way out to here. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the opposite of what we're looking in bonsai. And in bonsai, we're always trying to show compact growth on the branches here. So we have these branches, if we stick them all straight, they're all going to be all like this, and it's not going to be compact. So it's going to look like all the branches are all leggy. What we want to do is create that zigzag pattern and push it back in, to arrange it back in so it looks dense inside. So it looks like we have lots of inside branches. You know, the principles are sort of all the same, is in working with the bigger tree as it is with the smaller tree. It's the same wiring that you do, it's the same arranging that you do, it's just on a grander scale. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to finish wiring the tree, and then I'm going to sort of go over everything, you know, how I sort of placed everything at the end, and what I did with the sort of the apex, and sort of what I did with everything else. All right, so behind me is the finished tree. Let's zoom in a little bit and we can kind of see how I arranged the branches and look at sort of the pads in detail. Okay, so one of the first things I did when I was arranging this tree is, first of all, it's kind of a slant style tree. You can kind of see that the tree's going like this. So that's why I had my apex a little off center here to the right. There's a few ways you could do it, an apex on a slant style tree. If you have a lot of foliage on this side, you can put the apex here and do all the foliage on this side and do this side shorter. But in this tree, the heavier side is going to be this side, lighter side is going to be this side, so the apex is going to lean a little bit more on this side. Okay, so I lowered the camera a little bit so you can kind of see the correct angle and the correct front of the tree. Previously the angle was a little bit too high, so I brought it down a little bit so you can kind of see exactly how, so you can see sort of the layers I created on each pad, starting there, coming on this side, and then up here, onto the apex, and you can kind of see that there's always spacing in between everything. And that's sort of to give you that feel that you can kind of see through the tree and see the trunk structure as well. So one of the things I'm always looking for when I'm designing a tree is I'm always looking to build triangles. And if you look at this tree, you can kind of see that there's sort of triangles everywhere. There's one here, there's one on the overall design of the tree, and within each pad layer there's triangles as well, even little ones like this. And that's a really easy way of sort of, if you're just trying to design a tree, it's a pretty easy way, or sort of a general rule that makes, a tree sort of aesthetically pleasing. If I rotate it, you'll actually see that the triangles continue. And they'll come out from the, it'll also show on the pad as well. So the triangles go out this way, and it's going to taper out, and then come back in like this. Let's go taper in. And the triangle still shows up at this angle as well. And on the apex, of course. So I'm going to do a quick rotation of the tree so you guys can see exactly everything on it. Hopefully the shadows don't make it too hard to see. Alright, looks like I need to get out of the way. Alright, so that's sort of a quick time lapse on sort of just wiring the tree. It already had a few stylings already, so this is more sort of maintenance and sort of just redesigning or rewiring or rearranging the tree. So hopefully that wasn't too boring. Give me a like if you thought it was helpful, and then as always, subscribe if you'd like to see some more. Thanks for watching.